A young mother of 3 shot and killed.
I don't have a suspect. I have a masked maniac.
A peaceful neighborhood shaken to the core.
I could have been shot.
Evidence is thin and motive non-existent.
You were looking into that black tunnel that there was no end to.
Until Lieutenant Joe Kenda uncovers a sordid web of lust and greed.
You son of a bitch. Gunned down a housewife and mother? Better stand by, my friend. Start looking over your shoulder, because I'm not far behind you.
September 12th, 1990. It's an unseasonably warm evening in Otis Park, a small recreational center in the Nob Hill neighborhood of Colorado Springs. A meeting for the Women's Lupus Support Group is just getting started.
Sometimes we had about 40 people. Sometimes we had 5. It was a fun meeting, and we had refreshments, and we're socializing and that sort of thing.
One of the regular women in attendance is 32-year-old mother of 3, Diane Hood.
Thank you all for all your support.
She was a sweetheart. Pretty girl. Always, wanting to help set up programs and work with us.
Just 18 months earlier, soon after her 3rd child was born, Diane was diagnosed with lupus.
It's an autoimmune problem where your body immune system attacks certain organs.
So, who's going to pick up Seth today?
It can be very devastating.
But Diane is a fighter, and it's not long before she's on the verge of remission.
Diane was feeling really, really good. Told her story.
I know you've noticed I'm a little bit better.
It was really a good meeting for her.
You look great. Thank you. Next week.
At 8:30 p.m., the meeting lets up. Diane says goodbye and walks out with her friend Karen Johnson.
They're in a city park in a very quiet, crime-free part of town. The furthest thought from your mind is that right outside that door, death is waiting.
Sarah is about to head home when her night takes a horrifying turn. A dark figure bangs on the door.
What's going on?
It's Karen Johnson, and her hands are covered in blood.
Karen came flying back into the building. And she was just hysterical.
Look at me. I'm going to call the police. Okay.
Karen's yelling, "Diane's been shot. Diane's been shot."
But Sarah has no time to process this information. As a registered nurse, instinct takes over, and she quickly moves into action.
I automatically ran out the door, never thinking that I could have been shot too, but it never even occurred to me. That's just automatic for a nurse. That's what you do.
Hold on, kid.
Just outside, Sarah finds Diane lying in a pool of blood.
We turned her over on her back, and her eyes were open. She was gasping for breath, and as I started the compressions,
Hang on, Diane.
the blood came through my fingers.
Diane, listen to me.
So we did CPR and called paramedics.
Within minutes, EMTs arrive on the scene and take over for Sarah. But the situation is bleak.
She had 2 major gunshot wounds. One entered from the back of the shoulder and exited the front of the shoulder. The second round perforated chest came to rest in the second arm.
Diane is rushed to a nearby hospital, but it's too late. At 8:52 p.m., Diane Hood is pronounced dead.
It was just so hard to believe that that kind of thing could happen. It just didn't seem quite right.
The brutal death of this good-natured mother of 3 sends shockwaves throughout this normally peaceful part of town.
A shooting in that park was an extremely unusual event. In that neighborhood, things didn't happen like that.
Less than 30 minutes after the first shot was fired, Homicide Detective Lieutenant Joe Kenda arrives on the scene.
Gentlemen? Hey, Joe. How you doing?
When I get there's a small blood stain in the parking lot. Some witnesses and a bunch of police officers. The initial report is that it's an armed robbery. So you begin at the beginning, as always. Tell me about this neighborhood. Are there armed robberies in this neighborhood? Are there parolees recently released from prison with a record for armed robbery? Nothing. No such crimes. no such events.
What do you got for me?
Well, apparently the witness was with the victim.
Kenda turns to eyewitness Karen Johnson, still visibly shaken by the incident.
It took some deal of time to calm down Karen Johnson because, of course, she just witnessed this horrible event where a friend was killed. But once that occurred, she is our best and only witness to this crime. And that's really important.
Tell me exactly what you saw.
It happened so fast. We were walking to our car and
Karen recalls that she and Diane were on their way to the parking lot when they suddenly heard footsteps from behind.
One figure came from the east side of the building, dressed in dark clothing, wearing a ski mask and wearing camouflage pants, and accosted Diane Hood. Went for her purse. Diane turned towards the robber and said, "Here, take it," and let go of her purse.
According to Karen, Diane tried to run, but the man grabbed her arm and pulled out a large handgun.
He shoots her once, hits her high in the shoulder, and knocks her down.
Diane begged for her life, but the man fired again, straight into her chest.
It was just a walk up, grab the purse, shoot her, and run off. Everything pointed to a robbery that had gone bad for whatever reason.
Kenda asks Karen to describe what the shooter looked like, but all she remembers is that he was slightly shorter than her.
Give me a call anytime.
No race, no exposed skin. Can't tell us white, Hispanic, black. Can't tell eye color. We have a physical description of a person who can't be identified. That's not a lot.
Kenda instructs his team to comb the surrounding area for trace evidence the shooter may have left behind.
A lot of times robbery suspects, they have two things. They have a plan to get away, or they're going to wing it. That means they really don't know exactly where they're going to go as they're leaving the scene.
Hoping his suspect may still be lurking in the area, Kenda enlists the help of his canine unit to get a scent on the shooter.
So that officer arrives, canine officer, and he works the area where the shooter was standing, and the dog locks on the scent. Off they go. The dog continues on his track for almost a mile, into the housing areas, through alleys. The dog gets to a garbage can behind a private residence, and the dog sits down.
We got something.
That's his alert system. There's something in this can.
Inside the garbage can, Kenda makes a crucial discovery.
An olive drab field jacket, pair of gloves, and a black ski mask, and camouflage pants. These items match the description given by the witness at the scene.
Looks like we got the shooter's clothes here.
Once the clothing is removed, it goes to the laboratory to process for trace evidence. They find brown human hair inside the ski mask. Ran a gunshot residue test on the gloves, and they tested positive. So this is our stuff worn by the shooter. No question. The dog continues the track from the trash can, comes to the curb line of a street, and stops. The dog is now confused and working in circles because where'd the scent go?
Hey, Lieutenant, we lost the scent.
Well, it went into a car, in our opinion. The scent disappears because the scent drives away.
Kenda's only promising lead has just hit a dead end, and so has his case.
We could have a lot of problems solving this because we don't have anywhere to go. You were looking into that black tunnel that there was no end to.
I don't have a suspect. Not really. I have a masked maniac. So where does that leave me? Out in the cold.
But as Kenda soon discovers, it's the victim herself that will provide the key to this investigation.
So here I am, looking for the masked man, the Lone Ranger, as it were. That's not going to be very useful. So let's get to what is useful. Diane Elaine Hood. Who is she? Tell me everything about Diane Elaine Hood. everything. Because somewhere in her life, she encountered someone who wants her dead.
Mother of 3, Diane Hood, has been shot and killed during an armed robbery gone horribly wrong. The canine unit helps Lieutenant Joe Kenda track down the clothes worn by the shooter, but not the shooter himself.
They're always hopeful that the dog will go up on somebody's porch and sit down. Not the case this time.
With no other substantial leads, Kenda and his team turn to an old-fashioned police technique: neighborhood canvassing.
It was pretty much a tedious start south of the park and work our way north for a couple of blocks on either side and a couple of blocks east and west. Knocking on every door, seeing who was home, seeing if they knew anything.
Just as the neighborhood search seems hopeless, detectives encounter a woman with some new information.
During our neighborhood follow-up, we reveal this guy named David Barnes.
And I can probably guarantee he had something to do with it.
What if he could have done this crime? He lives in the area. He has problems. He has issues. He has unresolved anger.
What's more, locals have given him another, more sinister nickname:
Homicidal Dave. Interesting, we happen to be in the homicide business. Who is this guy?
We had information that he wore the military-style camouflage pants and uniform, and since we had found that uniform in the neighborhood, that gave us something to look at.
He was a veteran of the First Gulf War. He often spoke loudly to no one walking around the neighborhood, using strings of profanity for no apparent reason. They saw him as dangerous, crazy, all those sorts of things.
Detectives follow up on the lead, but quickly learn the suspect, known as Homicidal Dave, has an airtight alibi.
But we know where Dave is the night of the murder.
Right here on it. Just trying to shoot a hole. Absolutely.
He was with some friends and some other people, and we confirmed it. So he gets eliminated as a result.
We were at a area of the investigation that really didn't have any direct leads to go on. But that's the next step, is then take what you have and expand it.
Expanding the investigation means revisiting all of the eyewitness testimony, starting with the primary witness, Karen Johnson. As he reads through Karen's description of how the killer shot Diane Hood, Kenda picks up on a telltale piece of evidence.
She says, and she's quite clear about this, he shot her in the shoulder, and then he walked up to her and shot her in the chest. That, in my mind, is critical information.
Kenda now believes that Diane Hood was intentionally targeted by her killer.
This is not an armed robbery. Someone wants to make it look like that, but it isn't that. It's an assassination.
But Kenda still doesn't know who murdered this innocent mother of 3. So he turns to the forensic evidence for additional clues.
After Diane was pronounced dead at the hospital, her body was escorted to the El Paso County morgue. During the autopsy, 2 bullets are recovered from her body.
Kenda has the slugs rushed to the ballistics lab for a more detailed analysis.
Our ballistics man was one of the best in the country. He called me that same morning and he said, Kenda, you are a lucky guy.
Right.
Because you're looking for a very rare and valuable gun. A Colt Peacemaker patent 1872 single-action Army revolver. It's a cowboy gun, the one you've all seen in the movies. That's the gun. The bullet says so. Wow. I love limiting factors, and that is a huge limiting factor.
The lab also informs Kenda that this rare gun is worth thousands of dollars and known to be sold at antique gun shows.
It could mean that the person responsible for this crime is a collector of guns.
The unique model of the murder weapon is a key detail, but that's all it is, a detail.
We have 2 interesting pieces of evidence, but I need a person
homicide investigation, you're going to do background on almost everybody involved, including the victim.
As Kenda and his team look into the life of Diane Hood, they find nothing that would raise any red flags.
Diane is the salt of the earth. She is a wonderful mother. She's a devoted housewife. But that's not leading me anywhere. We're still at the stage of trying to find a suspect.
Needing someone connected to the victim, Kenda turns to the victim's husband, Brian Hood, hoping he might provide some much-needed insight into this case.
He is grieving over the loss of his wife. He's trying to arrange a burial. His family is there. His kids are upset. We say, hey, we know it's a difficult time, but anything you can tell us could be helpful without you even realizing it.
Brian agrees to accompany Kenda to the station. Looking into his background, Brian's life appears to be as idyllic as his wife's.
Brian had been a college quarterback. Diane had been a college cheerleader, and that's how they met. This was an upstanding American family that everybody dreams about.
Beyond being a devoted husband and father, Brian Hood is extremely well-liked by his neighbors and business colleagues.
Brian was a very sociable person. I mean, easy to get to know, and he's a very good family man.
Anybody that saw Brian was impressed with his physique. He was a football player in college in Texas, probably 6'4", 220 pounds, all muscle.
It's Brian's physical stature that helps Kenda eliminate him as a suspect.
We know that our shooter is shorter than 5'9", so obviously Brian is not the shooter.
As Kenda talks further with the victim's husband, he offers a seemingly minor detail that takes this case in a totally new direction.
I often go to the gym. I'd say I go about 4 or 5 times a week.
I'm kind of addicted to working out, and I go to a gym, and I go there almost every day. So we go to the gymnasium where he says he goes. We talk to 2 young girls at the desk.
Hey, ladies, doing today?
Good, how are you?
From Colorado Springs Police Department. I need to ask a couple questions.
We learned from these girls there's one particular client that Brian is very friendly with. They spend a lot of time talking to each other. And who is that? Well, it's this girl named Jennifer.
The girls at reception can't remember Jennifer's last name, but they do know she works at a nearby flower shop.
We're talking to the owner. He says, I do have that girl working here.
She's a great employee.
I know her, and I know her husband. They go to my church. What's her last name? Reale. Her husband's name is Benjamin. He's a captain in the Army at Fort Carson, and he's an intelligence officer.
The shop owner then provides some unexpected information about Benjamin Reale.
I like that. And he and I have a common interest.
We both have gun collections.
Gun collections?
Mm-hmm.
Antique guns. We like to collect antique guns. Could Ben be our shooter? Could he have done this? Of course he could. So we need to look into this guy.
It's a solid lead, but Kenda also knows there are miles to go before this case can be solved.
Murder cases have one great similarity. You're always probing. You poke a murder case. You're poking around in the dark, because when you poke, you're waiting for something or someone to say ouch. And if it's ouch, well now, who might you be?
Young mother of 3, Diane Hood, has been brutally murdered outside her lupus support meeting in Otis Park. And Lieutenant Joe Kenda has just discovered his first viable suspect, Captain Benjamin Reale, an Army officer who collects antique guns, like the Colt 45 Peacemaker used in the fatal shooting.
If we can determine a person of interest that's connected to this, who somehow owns such a gun, wow, that would be good, wouldn't it? Yes, it would.
What's more, Ben's wife, Jennifer, is a known friend and workout partner of Brian Hood, the victim's husband. Now, Kenda and his team wonder, could this innocent friendship have led Ben Reale to shoot Diane Hood?
That was a jump on our part, based on the fact that they're hanging out together, they're seen at the gym together. It could have been a jealous lover. It could have been somebody just mad at him, trying to do vindictive things towards his family. There could be some motive developed there.
Kenda looks into Ben's personal life and learns an interesting detail. Ben Reale works at Fort Carson as a criminal investigator for the U.S. Army. As a soldier, he would have expert knowledge in the business of killing, and as an investigator, he would know how to get away with it.
The reality is also that the clothing recovered was military clothing. Ben Reale was a captain at the military intelligence unit at Fort Carson, so there's a nexus there that could these be his clothing.
Ben's records show he is approximately 5'9" and 160 pounds. A physical description similar to the one Karen Johnson gave of the shooter.
So off we go to Fort Carson. Ben's in his office working, doesn't know we're coming. We walk in, and he has a startled look on his face.
We're looking into the murder of Diane Hood. Can you tell us where you were that night?
You can see the wheels turning. What is going on here?
When Kenda informs Ben of the investigation, he immediately goes on the defensive.
I was working by myself.
But Ben has no witnesses to support his alibi.
We also want to find out what kind of firearms he may have or have access to see if they could be something that were used in the murder.
Why don't you tell us about this gun collection of yours?
Ben admits to owning several antique guns, including one very valuable piece.
My dad gave it to me. It's the best piece I have in my collection.
It's a Colt 45 Peacemaker.
It's a Colt single-action Army Peacemaker, patent 1872.
Ben owns the exact type of gun the ballistics team identified as the murder weapon.
Could this guy be the suspect? Could this be the weapon involved? Obviously, our first intent would be to lock down that weapon, get it analyzed.
Ben takes Kenda to where the weapon is stored.
Ben has a look of complete confusion on his face, as well as concern.
It's my gun.
He presents this gun wrapped in a red shop rag.
This is the one.
There it is. Colt Peacemaker, single-action Army. Exactly what I'm looking for.
The only problem is, the gun reeks of cleaning fluid.
And we were not able to recover any fingerprints on the weapon. While you're hoping that smoking gun has all the evidence on it, it doesn't always work that way.
All right, we need to take this to the lab and have a test fired.
In the meantime, he's not finished with Ben just yet.
Listen, we need to go to our office. I have some other things I want you to look at. And he turned white.
To bring Ben Reale up to do the interview here on our police headquarters unit puts him out of his element, puts him in our element. Put him on our turf, it's better for us.
Ben is taken downtown, while his Colt Peacemaker is sent to the lab for testing.
Tell him put it priority. I have a potential suspect in my possession, and the identity of that weapon is going to make the arrest or not.
Ben is seated in an interview room, where Kenda lays out the shooter's clothes for him to examine.
You look familiar to you?
No.
He takes a side glance for a half a second. He says, no, I don't recognize him. He didn't look at him. I said, Ben, I need your attention for a moment. You didn't even look at these. I not only expect you to look at them, I expect you to examine them. Because at a minimum, I'm going to call your commanding officer and end your military career overnight. Or at a maximum, I'm going to arrest you for murder. You want to try this again? And he starts to cry.
Ben admits that the shooter's military fatigues are in fact his. And he has already turned over an antique Colt revolver that matches the ballistics expert's description of the murder weapon.
These are your clothes. And these are the clothes were used in the murder.
I think we're in it now. We're not just in the right ballpark. We're in the right two seats. And I was feeling pretty pleased.
His sights on a confession, Kenda presses Ben about the shooter's clothes.
Where did you last see this coat and those pants? Well, in my closet at my house. And when was that? Well, I haven't been living there for 3 weeks. But the last time I saw them, that's where they were.
We've been fighting.
Ben explains that he's recently been having marital issues with his wife.
Please, can you just...
We've been having problems, and I moved out 3 weeks ago. I've been staying on post.
Sensing there's more to his story, Kenda urges the anguished Army captain to continue. What Ben says next startles everyone.
My wife brought the gun in today to my job.
Well, my wife brought a gun in here this morning. One of my guns, wrapped in a rag, and said she wanted me to keep it for her.
What do you have my gun for?
Just take it, don't ask questions.
You mean don't ask questions?
I don't care what
A couple of weeks ago, she wanted to shoot it. So I took her out to the range and I bought a box of ammunition and I showed her how to load it, how to unload it, and she fired it a number of times. So he goes from a person of interest to a key witness. He has a gun in his possession, given to him by his wife. It just fit for me right away. You think back to that witness. It wasn't important to me at the time, but now I'm thinking about it. What did he do with the purse after he took it? He put it over his arm. That fact blasted back into my head. He put it over his arm, like a woman would do.
Lieutenant Joe Kenda has just eliminated Ben Reale as a suspect and replaced him with a brand new one.
When he told me that his wife brought him a gun, my first thought was, we're not looking for a guy. We're looking for a woman.
It's been nearly 48 hours since the young mother of three, Diane Hood, was brutally murdered. And Lieutenant Joe Kenda's first suspect, Captain Benjamin Reale, has just revealed a key piece of information. His wife, Jennifer Reale, recently handed him a freshly cleaned Colt 45 revolver. Kenda has just eliminated one prime suspect for another.
We're not looking for a guy. We're looking for a woman wearing a ski mask. And maybe her name is Jennifer.
But what motive would Jennifer Reale have to murder Diane Hood? Kenda needs to find out more about his new prime suspect.
She's a graduate of the University of Washington. She has 2 children, both girls. She is well regarded by her friends. Very nice person.
On paper, the young mother does not fit the portrait of a cold-blooded killer.
Generally, it's a male on male or male on female, domestic violence. To have a female go out there and basically execute Diane Hood seems really unusual.
Jennifer Reale is brought down to the station.
I want to see my husband.
That's right there right now.
Kenda has a hunch that the couple's rocky relationship may provoke Jennifer to tip her hand.
You just need to get your clothes together.
They go into a room.
What is going on?
Ben, I didn't do anything.
They're in there for 30, 40 minutes, yelling and screaming at each other.
What does that have to do with the gun?
I hate this marriage. I hate everything about us.
I don't know what they said to each other, and I don't care at this point. And I'm waiting for that phone to ring from the lab, and it's not ringing.
It's clear from their body language, Jennifer and Ben are not co-conspirators. Ben is struggling with the possibility that his wife may be a murderer.
I didn't kill anybody, okay?
Just then, the phone rings.
It's Kenda.
It's the ballistics lab, calling with news about Ben Reale's gun.
Kenda, that's your gun. You sure? To the exclusion of all guns on the planet, it's the one who killed Diane Hood. Turned to 2 of my detectives, canceled her dinner plans. Tell her she's under arrest for first-degree murder.
Reale, please put your hands behind me. No.
Guys, we need you to calm down.
Hey, sit down. Sit down.
Ben tries to grab her away from him. He just reacts. We slam him in a chair, and I put my hands on his face.
Be smart about this.
And I said, Ben, you're not part of this yet. You need to think about taking care of your children, not going to jail.
As detectives escort Ben out of the room, he looks at his wife one last time, only to see she's been placed in handcuffs.
Jennifer.
Now it's time for Lieutenant Kenda to turn his attention from Benjamin Reale to Jennifer Reale.
During that conversation, she denies.
I didn't kill anybody.
She denied any knowledge of the shooting or the robbery or anything that had happened.
As detectives watch from the next room, Kenda ratchets up the pressure.
We have the clothes you wore the night of the murder. We have the murder weapon. We know that you brought it to your husband this morning.
Jennifer doesn't react well to being cornered. She's accustomed to being in control of things.
Tell me why you killed her.
Stop that.
She doesn't like the way we're asking questions because we're becoming more and more confrontational. How do you explain this? How do you explain your husband's gun being used in a murder that you had in your possession at the time?
But Jennifer has a quick answer. She says the gun must have been stolen.
Do you realize how ludicrous that is? Somebody breaks into your house, takes a gun, uses it in a murder, and puts it back in your house. That's going to be your defense to this.
Get it off your conscience.
More than an hour into questioning, Jennifer's strong exterior begins to crumble.
No!
She has the look of a caged animal. It just comes to the moment when she realizes that there's no way out of this.
I did it.
She finally says, okay, I killed her.
Just like that, Kenda gets what every homicide investigator hopes for, a confession. Jennifer describes in detail how she committed the brutal crime.
She openly admitted to shooting Diane Hood. The plan was to wait outside the community center till she came out and make it look like a robbery, which is what happened.
For Kenda, Jennifer's confession has seemingly made this an open and shut case. But what she says next leads Kenda to believe someone else was also involved in the murder of Diane Hood, and the architect of the plot is still at large.
Jennifer says, I killed her, but it wasn't my idea. How interesting. So when you get to the truth, a very clear picture emerges. Murder by design.
28-year-old Jennifer Reale has just confessed to shooting mother of three Diane Hood. But what Lieutenant Joe Kenda can't figure out is why. That is until Jennifer makes a statement that throws the entire homicide division for a loop.
She finally says, okay, I killed her. But it wasn't my idea. Excuse me. Well, for the past 8 months, I've been having an affair with Brian Hood.
Jennifer explains that in early 1990, she met the victim's husband, Brian Hood, at the fitness center, where Jennifer and Brian frequently worked out.
They were in the hot tub at one time together, talking. Those flirtatious ways started to draw her in. And that's her real development, or her starting point with Brian Hood.
By early spring, the innocent flirtation had escalated to a full-blown affair.
It started out small and it got very big very quick. And we were falling in love with each other.
They had a fairly substantial affair that seemed to take place mostly at Jennifer's when Ben Reale was not in town.
Jennifer described in detail every time they had sex and where they had it. The first time he made love to her was on top of the washing machine in her house. Then it was in her Jeep Cherokee. Very specific about all the details of her involvement with Brian.
Tell me about this affair. Or tell me why you did.
According to Jennifer, Brian painted a merciful picture about how killing Diane would end her suffering.
Brian said his wife had lupus and she was going to die anyway. He had an insurance policy on his wife for $100,000, and it was a double indemnity policy that if she were to be murdered, he would pay $200,000.
How, Brian?
For a period of months, he discussed with me various methods to have his wife killed. He talked about trying to hire a hitman. He talked about making left-hand turns in the face of oncoming traffic so she would be killed when the car struck the passenger side.
Eventually, Brian decided a staged robbery would be the best way to have Diane killed, and Jennifer should be the one to do it.
He says to her at one point, "We've already committed the sin of adultery, and the sin of murder is no worse." Really?
There's no other choice.
She indicated that she cared so much about him that anything that he told her to do, she would do. That he was her whole life at that time.
She says that Brian's approach to her is based on passages from the Bible. That this is all going to be okay, and if she repents her sins after having killed his wife for him, she won't suffer going to hell. He further says to Jennifer that this armed robbery plan is going to work because the police are stupid, and they will believe that this is an armed robbery, and they will be forever chasing someone who doesn't exist. He uses this as his final method of convincing her that this plan is going to work. They're going to get the money and live happily ever after.
Jennifer tells Kenda that for more than 3 months, Brian pressured her to help kill his wife. Finally, on the night of September 12th, Jennifer agreed to go through with it.
She presents a damning picture that Brian is not only involved in this, he's the architect of the plot.
That doesn't stop Kenda from throwing Jennifer behind bars.
We put her in the El Paso County Jail, held without bond for first-degree murder.
Kenda prepares an arrest warrant and heads back to the home of Brian Hood.
We handcuff Brian and we throw him in jail.
You're under arrest for first-degree murder? Turn off the chain behind your back, sir.
For conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, solicitation to commit first-degree murder, and first-degree murder. 3 charges.
Kenda worries that Jennifer's testimony may not be enough to convict Brian, and a jury may see this as a case of fatal attraction.
If all we had was Jennifer, we have a case of he said and she said. Those are very difficult for juries to discern.
However, as news of the arrest goes public, one of Brian's friends, a bartender named Frank Patton, comes forward with damning information.
I'm asking him about his wife and his kids, and he just said, "I just wish he'd die and get it over with.
I wish my wife was dead."
Less than a week after that conversation, Diane Hood was murdered in cold blood. Fearing for his own life, Frank Patton tells police what Brian said.
His friends were afraid of him. He had approached them about killing his wife. Their immediate thought is, if he could do that, he could do me too. I have to call the police. Excellent. Our phones are open.
As the tips roll in from more of Brian's associates, it becomes clear that he was only using his wife's disease as an excuse to justify murder.
This is not a case of fatal attraction. This is a case of Brian Hood pressuring his friends until he found one that would do his bidding. Now, we have a case, and the matter is going to proceed to trial.
Brian maintains his innocence throughout, but as more witnesses come forward, his case begins to crumble.
We get the family doctor. The doctor says, "I told Diane she had the mildest form of lupus. It could be easily controlled with medication, and she should have no difficulty living a normal life." And Brian was clearly aware of that. Brian says to Jennifer and to anyone else that'll listen to him, including the people that testified, she's going to die anyway. No, she's not. And he knows it.
More than a year after Diane Hood was shot and killed, a jury finds Brian Hood guilty on 2 counts of criminal solicitation and 1 count of conspiracy to murder his wife. However, on the charge of first-degree murder, Brian Hood is found not guilty. Instead of life in prison, Brian is sentenced to 37 years.
He's paying the price, but he's not paying the price he should be paying. I think he got away with murder.
In a separate trial 3 months later, Jennifer Reale pleads insanity, claiming she had been brainwashed by Brian. But the jury does not buy her plea, and she is found guilty on both charges.
First-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Sentenced to life without parole, Colorado State Penitentiary. When we were preparing Jennifer to be taken to jail, I said, Jennifer, I have one last question for you. Do you think the police are stupid? She didn't answer me. I don't know why.
It really was satisfying to know that we had basically stood in Diane's shoes after she couldn't defend herself anymore, and we were able to get justice for her when she couldn't do it for herself.
The trials are over, but the lives of 2 families have been irrevocably changed.
It was just an extreme sadness about what it did to not just the Hood family, but the Reale family. The consequences of an action like that has ramifications that last for generations.
The question remains, what would lead a successful father of 3 to murder the mother of his own children?
I mean, why not get a divorce and not end up, having your wife killed? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Human nature at its worst among people who have no reason to behave that way. You've often heard the comment, what does a murderer look like? Well, as it turns out, it looks like the cute mom next door.